because you're not being allowed the opportunity to testify on your own behalf. So Miss Barker has let them, whoever this asshole is, has shown up on the campus and has taken notes from school children and could just as easily put cameras in the classroom. That's the first thing I would do if I was going to observe a child in a classroom and have him characterized as mentally disabled or somehow expressing behavior or issues of any kind. I just put a camera in the classroom. They can do that. That's all you have to do. There's no reason for there to be any type of reason to take statements from children about it, unless you want to conduct a witch hunt, and that's what it sounds like to me is going on. And this asshole who's doing it is trying to use that as prima facie evidence to say that you are in need of supervision and have reasons for them to be suspicious. That's what the asshole's doing. Because it's a jackass with a badge who thinks that they're smart, and I think it's probably a pedophile. Those are things that should never be allowed to occur. The only person that if there's a cop there or whoever taking notes on you should be talking to is the teacher. What do you see Jacob doing every day? What does he do? How is his behavior? That's how you ask those questions. You don't ask the students because they're children. And they're easily swayed. Kids will say that. You can walk into a room and, say, oh, I smell smoke. Well, kids in their creative imagination will say, oh, I saw Johnny, he was digging in his backpack, and that's the area of the room where the smoke came from. I bet you he lit a cigarette, or I bet you he had some matches in his backpack. They imagine all of that without actually seeing the evidence of it. Adults have the maturity to tell the difference there. Children don't. So if you suggest those types of things to children, then that's the kind of evidence you're going to get. You're going to get exactly what you asked for. It's the same thing that happened to the McNortons. The police department in the McNorton trial sent out letters to all the parents at the daycare and said, we can't tell you any of the accusations, but if you notice anything at all unusual about their children's behavior, or the McMartin teacher, this McMartin teacher or that McMartin teacher, you need to contact the police department immediately. Well, you know what? What do you think happened next?
What?
All the parents freaked out. Because what does that letter say? That there's something going on, and the police can't tell us what it is, and it's obviously the McMartins that are doing something, so we need to, God, there's something going on, and since the police are saying that, then there definitely should be something there. And so they started saying all this stuff that wasn't ever true. They started interpreting everything. So by saying that, they were suggesting to those parents that their children were being molested.
Yep.
And that's what their parents, that's exactly what it says, that their children were at risk and that the McMartins were doing something to them. And that is what this cop is doing. It's the very same thing, showing up and saying, you know what, I can't tell you anything, but if there's anything suspicious about Jacob or if you observe anything at all, you need to come tell me immediately so I can document it. You're going to say that to children? What is the first thing they're going to do? They're going to paint an X on you. And then they're going to watch everything you do. If you bat your eyes the wrong way, if you look in the wrong direction, no matter what, they're not clinically trained and they're going to interpret everything as being suspicious. That is a witch hunt is what it is. And walking into a courtroom with that kind of documentation and saying, this is my justification, those people in the McMartins were not guilty. They were innocent. Oprah Winfrey got on national television and called them pedophiles. And she said the same thing, that how could all the children be saying the same things when they're all being interviewed separately? Well, guess what? The whole suggestive attitude of suggesting that something's wrong, like that letter did, which started with the police department there, was continued by the therapist that interviewed them. They weren't therapists. I think there might have been one of them that was, but she was suggesting to them by the way she was questioning them that they were being sexually abused. and they wanted to give the response that they were expected to give, and they wanted to please the therapist, so they filled in the blanks for her. And then all their parents were saying, yeah, definitely the police are saying this, there's got to be something wrong. It's defamation is what it is. And you see it going on, and it's intimidating you. I need to get involved with it now.
Wow.
Well, I can go down there and question them.
Go down there.
They're just going to tell me I'm full of shit and read me the riot act like Miss Parker did. Just like that principal at Coke did. It sounds like they're playing the same game there. Mm-hmm. If people make up their minds to do stuff like that, it's because they want to conduct a witch hunt. And a police officer doing that should be fired immediately and suspended and investigated for being a pedophile. Any teacher in a classroom should be the one asked to, provide observations. And I've worked in special ed and done one-on-one with special ed students where you have to go into classrooms, and inclusion classrooms, have to fill out this paperwork, saying what the kid did, whether or not the child responded to teaching and all that kind of stuff, the documentation and everything like that. Those are things that can be documented, but that school campus has cameras everywhere, and if you believe something like that is going on, there's no reason at all not to put cameras in the classroom. There's no reason to take any type of statement from children. You have the right to testify on your own behalf. And that's what this is. It's a witch hunt. God, I had no idea that's what they were doing to you, Jake.
Oh, no.
Miss Parker's letting them do it. So I'm going to have to go ahead and get a hold of her boss.
Dr.
I spent 2 hours on the phone trying to get a hold of her once. Still couldn't get her. Even if that was a legal thing for this jackass to do, and if they say that I consented to it, there's nobody on the face of this earth, there's not a parent in the world that would take the word of the other children in the classroom without real objective observation. And anybody that avoids prima facie evidence like audio and video surveillance, all you have to do is put the camera up there and put it in plain sight, and everybody can see it, and there's no reason at all for there ever to be children interviewed. That's avoiding evidence that would prove or disprove your case immediately. And on school campuses, they can put cameras anywhere. Anywhere. Any classroom, any lunchroom, anywhere, gym, all over the place. And, it can save all kinds of money. I mean, the fee for the jackass with a badge doing it, sitting up there every day taking notes like that, trying to say all this stuff about you. I'm going to send Mr. Jerome and ask him about it.